Well, good afternoon or good evening. It's good to have you back. And last time we were together, we talked a little bit about video. Of course, we got ourselves thinking about the Khan Academy and some of the positives of videos and some of the challenges of videos. I want to extend that conversation. And this afternoon, I want to extend that conversation to three different elements. One is this consideration of all the different variety of video that's out there when it comes to math instruction. And I want us to kind of take a look at some of the different flavors. There's not extensive amounts of flavors. There's probably chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, so to say. Not too diverse, but different types of sources, different types of visuals, and things for us to consider. I want us to consider as we think about those, the second thing is how would we kind of compare and evaluate and rate when we think about those struggling learners that we're working with. And the third thing is that kind of what you just did with the slideshow video is thinking about maybe how we'd go about creating some of our own little snippets that might be really, really relevant considering some of the challenges we have with our learners and some of the challenges they have and how maybe some of the videos that we're finding out there just aren't going enough, aren't going that extra step where we could potentially create something within a couple minutes for a couple minutes that might be perfect for them. All right, well, let's get started. Let's get started with a few of the resources out there. And Math TV is one that many of us know. And Math TV offers lots of different varieties. First of all, different folks, closed captioning, non-closed captioning, Spanish, English. But basically, we'll go into here about simplification. Let's take a quick look at this.
Plus -3, plus 4.
Now,
and I continue left to right.
A lot of the video here, as you can see, is going to be what we saw earlier in the first segment. That is kind of just simply breaking things down and kind of giving us that explicit or direct instruction. Not bad for some of our learners, definitely not bad at all. And giving them an opportunity to go back, listen to it, review it, actually by potentially seeing the individual. Might be a little bit more engaging than the Khan Academy, but offers a different features than what the Khan Academy offers. Well, let's go to another segment, Brightstorm. Now, we've seen this gentleman before. Brightstorm offers, well, here, let me go back to Brightstorm real quick. Brightstorm offers a variety of free videos across lots of different topics. Now, they're not necessarily their videos, but let's go back to geometry. We'll go to geometry and we'll take a look at parallel and skew lines. And this is by someone by the name of Brian McCall.
Parallel lines, because you're going to use it through all parts of geometry. Technically, parallel lines are two coplanar, which means they share the same plane or they're in the same plane.
And as you can see, what Brian's kind of doing is walking us through on a whiteboard, kind of step-by-step elements. He's giving pretty extensive clarification. And one of the things I like about Brian and Brightstorm overall in these videos is there's not a lot of clutter about various elements. Some of the things that Saul Kahn talks about, he's very explicit, very direct. And here, let me tell you what it's all about. Let me draw it out for you. Let's practice it, and let's move on. So that's Brightstorm. Again, a variety of different videos there. Now, actually, let's go ahead and stop him because he'll play with our sound here in just a second. Let's go ahead and take a look at another site called Watch, Know, Learn. Now, Watch, Know, Learn basically has kind of culled together a variety of different videos from various places. In this instance, we're looking at measurement, but you can see up under math, we have everything from mathematics for young learners all the way down to, well, pre-calculus, calculus, if not beyond. And so let's take a look at, well, here, let's take a look at algebra. So we'll go under about 966 videos. And again, they haven't created all these videos, so some will be very orientated to our needs. Some will be kind of like, okay, well, for example, let me take a look at this one. This is, I think, a little bit of an old one off of YouTube. And ages, it says more 15 to 18, so more high school age. Let it load. Here we go. It's taking a second or two. All right. And so this can be off of YouTube. We'll make it larger as well. And here we go.
What objects am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about numbers, as you've already seen, sets, what we'll later talk about, functions, etc. It is a language that is designed to...
So he's basically, in this instance, he's basically offering us a whiteboard. He's walking it through. We can see him, but overview, it's just simply kind of giving us the basics of that lesson. Now let's take a look at geometry, learn the basics of geometry. And this will be a bit different. This video is not going to be from a gentleman, and let's get ahead of ourselves a little bit. Well, here, learn the basics of geometry. And we'll just move it along a little bit. Well, there we go.
In this lesson, let's learn about the basics
Well,
of geometry. The problem wants us to use the figure to name each of the following. And we are given this figure, which
all
looks
right,
like
you get a
there's
sense of
plane
what he's doing.
Z,
We'll go back to
and it's
geometry
got
here. So you get a sense that in each way it's a little bit different. So this one's highway design, introduction to horizontal and vertical alignment. So some are that typical whiteboard. Some of the are going to be a little bit more visual in terms of the connection. And again, this is all watch, know, and learn. And again, they're grabbing it from, this one's out of Findlay, the other one was out of Kansas City, the other one was out of Tenmark. So a variety of different places. Again, watch to learn. Now another one, let's go back here real quick, is Neo K-12. Now Neo K-12 offers, well actually let's go back even further. Neo K-12 offers topics in almost all our areas. And in the areas, so for example in math, it covers a lot of different grades. But let's go back to ratio, rate, and percentages to, oh, this is math antics. So again, this is grabbing from various video that's out there. We'll go ahead a little bit.
That's all real
And we'll
life
make
stuff
it
for
larger.
sure. So you can see that it's really important to understand percentages and how we use them in math. All right then, are you ready to learn the key to understanding percentages, or percents as they're called for short? Drum roll please. A percent is
All right, so this is kind of off of math antics, but it gives you a sense. This is more middle school. He's talking to us. There's going to be visuals that fly in, and sooner or later he'll get into that whiteboard, so to speak, where he's walking us through elements in a very visual standpoint where we're not seeing him, but actually we're seeing the problem. And again, this is off of the site Neo K-12, and it gives you more than just simply math, but a lot of video there. All right, now we also have a variety of resources off of YouTube. So here's just a traditional YouTube, and we'll watch this for a second about dividing fractions.
I'm going to make it
Of course, we can make it larger.
4 by 5. So if you look carefully, there's 5 columns.
So here he's simply taking graph paper. He's writing out the graph paper. It looks literally like a sheet of graph paper he's put onto, I don't know, a desk. He's got his little marker, and he's walking us through it step by step. Great.
To work.
Now, one of the reasons I mentioned this site is that now I scroll down like I would with any YouTube and take a look at the variations of all sorts of different resources coming from all sorts of different places. Now, yeah, that's a bit of a lift for us to go through and watch every single one. But I just want us to make aware that there are a variety of different resources there, and going to something like YouTube can get us into, well, gosh, this one's great on fractions. This one's, oh, gosh, this is even better on fractions, or maybe tech math a little bit better than Tim Hayes. And for example, let me give you some individuals. So this is an individual, and well, here, we'll get started here.
Hi, my name is Maria. I'm a mathematician, and today I'm going to show you how to teach ratios in mathematics. So a ratio is a comparison of two numbers.
Now Maria uses a kind of a glass board, so kind of a version of a whiteboard. We get to see her and get to her to kind of walk us through elements. She's very emotional, or I guess there's a reason to watch her. She makes kind of connections with us, and as you can see down here, Maria's done a number of different things for videos to take a look at, and actually eHow is offering a number of different individuals to go along with it. And so with that, we can take a look at, gosh, I really like how Maria explained, the ratio mathematics. So let's have her explain how we're going to, convert measurements, or how we're going to determine percentages and things of that nature. So eHow Math is another consideration for us. And again, these are resources off of YouTube. All right, so with that thought in mind, we have a number of videos for us to consider and for us to kind of cull through, and that does take a little time, but to me it's worth the time. And again, it may be certain places that we go to, so maybe it's eHow, or maybe it's Neo K-12, or maybe it's Math TV, where we're saying we're trying to address this standard. Okay, well, give us that structure. We're trying to see what you have in this area, trying to see what you have in a certain grade area maybe, and then we're going to actually make that selection from there. Now, how do we evaluate it? Well, there's a lot of different criteria to consider, but I've created this little chart for myself when I'm looking at video. When I think of the individuals that I talked about in an earlier session, I want to make sure that whatever video I watch, it illustrates the idea and concept that I am trying to explain. And when I say illustrates, it better just not talk about it. It better not be too static. It better literally give me some visuals to make some connections. there better be a clear purpose to the video. So as I watch and listen, if it's too busy, if the chatter of the instructor is about lots of different examples that offer potential confusion and things of that nature, I'm going to say I don't like that clear purpose. I'm going to make sure also any images, illustrations, the audio that's offered, the things that are drawn out, whatever, that they actually are representing the idea in multiple ways. It's simply talking to me? No. If it's simply writing it down for me? Probably not. I want something that's going to give me multiple options, because as a learner, I'm going to need those multiple options based on my variability. I'm hoping they also kind of anchor the concept for me, and that is that I'm now having more of a connection. Maybe it's that visual connection. Maybe it's that they've used some color to orientate some things. Maybe they've illustrated things in a manner that now, yes, I have that foundation. I'm in the basement, or I'm on the first floor. Now give me some problems to extend to that second or third floor. I want to make sure also that it's reducing the cognitive load of that learner. So, maybe through the book is certain information, or maybe through the online lesson where I'm reading and hearing, yeah, but I don't have that visualization. It's not walking me through it. It better reduce that cognitive load for me. Better be good quality video and good quality audio as well. So all these factors to me come into play to make a decision about what video to select and what video potentially not to select as I'm looking at the variety of tools that are available to me. Now, with that thought in mind, we may say, wait a minute here, we're just trying to introduce this one concept. We know a lot of our learners are struggling with it. Gosh, wouldn't it be helpful just to offer a quick little illustration, maybe a minute, maybe a 2-minute, and it's similar to what some of those individuals have been doing, just kind of drawing things out. Well, by the way, there's a lot of different technology for us to consider there. And let us consider, if we could, I'm just going to take one of our tools that's available to us, and this is on our Chrome browser. So this is called Screencastify. My mouse is right up here going around and around and around and around to this little film box. I'm going to click on this film box. And this is a Chrome app. If you're unfamiliar with Chrome apps, they're basically, many of them are free or low cost. And this Chrome app will allow me to basically, I'm going to grab my desktop. It will allow me to record my desktop. It will also allow me to do an embedded webcam, so I could actually record myself, which isn't too critical right now. More importantly, is to record my desktop. And so in my recording my desktop, and I'll start pressing record, it will actually, let's go ahead and record screen 1. So we'll go ahead and share that. All right.
3, 2, 1.
Now it's starting to record what I'm talking about here, similar to the software I'm using right now, which is for pay, Camtasia. But the idea is, as I move around, it will record it. So now I'm done. So I'll go back over here, and I'll just press my recording. I'll end my recording. And it'll now it's starting to record what I'm talking about here, similar to the software. So you can see I have now a recording, and I can actually download right down here or right up here. I can save to a disk, and then I can download it and send it out to an individual or to a group of individuals. I can put it onto Google Drive. I can put it onto Dropbox, share it out, so individuals now have my overview of what I was trying to share in respect to that. And there's a number of different softwares that do this. Screencastify is one of them. They're free, which I really like. But I also like Camtasia, which I'm using right now. That's for pay. And a number of other. iMovie, of course, allows me to edit it, and that's not really our focus for today, but I want to kind of reinforce it. Now, by the way, there's a number of tools that are fairly low cost. These are all under $20, which I could actually put my camera on. So this one here, I can actually put my camera on. Here we go. And I can, oops, sorry about that. I'll get my pen, that's what I meant to grab. And we'll go a little bit forward here. I can actually grab my camera. Never mind. Sorry about that, folks. So I can actually grab my camera, place it on a device and a holder, and then actually record it. So if this device over here will actually connect to any type of stand I already have, put my iPhone in there and hold it. This camera here could, again, under $20, create an angle so actually it could record my desk, not my desktop, but my desk, where I actually have sheets of paper down there and I'm writing. And this camera right here, many of us actually have this little stand. I see this stand almost anywhere. I can actually tie this stand, maybe it's to a bar above me, maybe it's to a side, maybe it's to a piece of furniture that then can record me without me having to hold it. So lots of different ways to record our video and lots of different ways to edit our video. All right, now why would we want to consider that? Well, think of the fractions and think of things that we need to know in terms of fractions. And so one of the things that we know individuals, we need extensive use of models for individuals that are learning. struggling learners. We know the fact that it could be through virtual manipulatives. We know the fact that it could be through graphing paper. We know the fact that it could be through, well, a number of different elements, but we know that students tend to look at shapes, for example, instead of the parts that they need to look at. The complexity of partitioning for the struggling learners is a challenge. They can't accurately partition. So one way of doing this is to develop the idea of partitioning and visualization of that. So we might create a short little video of some of those partitioning and fraction elements for them to be able to understand, and those illustrations are offering that additional option for them. But there's also web sites for the consideration there. So for example, this is one that does a really nice job. This is off of the National Virtual Library Museum. And I'll just give you an example here. Let's go with, well, equivalent fractions. We'll do numbers and operations. And we'll get this thing downloaded here. All right, and we'll run it. And so for example, here I can take a new fractions where it will offer me a variety of different ways to look at fractions. I can then put in what I think is appropriate to check. And again, new fractions for new visualization. So maybe I don't even need to create the video. Instead, this is a website where the individual can practice with that aspect of partitioning. But I could also potentially illustrate this through myself actually walking through, videotaping this off a Screencastify or Camtasia or something like that, walking the individual through and how to practice and why the new fractions would be the pieces they are. Of course, I can do a number of different things here. And this is, by the way, just one of several different tools that deal with fractions up under the virtual manipulative site. And by doing so, I could record that and share that out to the users. So a lot of different tools for them to consider. My purpose right now was to simply make you aware of different video sites out there, consideration of video, have you think about maybe creating your own video and how easy that is to do, but also then this idea of why we might want to create our own video and some resources out there for consideration. Great, I hope this was helpful.